Americans owe more money than ever before. So why are we all just so comfortable being in debt? 7 years ago, my wife and I paid off $43,000 worth of debt, and we used that momentum to build a net worth to multiple six figures, all because of the foundation of how we thought about debt differently. So today, let's react to some TikToks to see whether they're helping people escape debt or making the problem even worse.
I am absolutely buzzing because I just deposited my 401k.
Deposited?
I deposited my 401k because I took it all out so that I could pay off my credit cards because your girl was drowning. I was drowning in credit card debt because I had lost my job when I was traveling Europe. So I had to put everything on my credit cards and I just couldn't do it anymore. Literally crying to my friend. I was like, what do I do? Do I file bankruptcy? Do I take out a personal loan? I just don't want to pay anybody back. That was the whole goal is to just be done with this. I just don't know what to do. She's like, wait, you still have a 401k from Warner when we worked there because we worked at Warner together. And I was like, yeah, why? And she's like, pull it out. She's like, take that shit out and pay it. She's like, you know that you're going to get a job soon again. And you're just aggressively put into your 401k then. And I was like, you're brilliant. Because I'm like, when I pay my credit cards off, I can just put it back into a 401k. Because I was paying $1,300 a month in credit card debt. That's a minimum, mind you. So I literally was not even making a goddamn dent with the $1,300. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Literally can't do it. It's not worth it. Pulled out my 401k and I just deposited the check. And I literally feel like I can breathe. I just feel so happy because now I feel like I can live my life and really not make money just to pay off debt that isn't even getting paid off because of the fucking interest rate. This is just what I've done that feels good to me, was to take out my 401k. It's an option. I feel like rich people do this all the time. So why are we not talking about it more? And I hate that people don't talk about debt enough. Because everyone has it nowadays.
Rich people are taking out their
I just feel so excited. Yeah! Shout out to my friend who told me about this because I didn't even think about it. So yay!
Yeah, I don't know the kind of level of friend she is. I don't know if we should be shouting her out on TikTok when your TikTok blew up for not the reasons that you were expecting. So, first of all, okay, great. You paid off your debt. Congratulations. Couple things there. She mentioned, was she saying that rich people do this, meaning take their 401k out and pay off their debt with it? I don't know if that's true. I'd have to see the data on that one. I'm not really too sure that that's accurate. $1,300 a month is a lot. It's basically I don't know, some people's rents probably. That's a lot. And to not make a dent, yeah, I'm sure that's frustrating. But what's going to happen here, I can almost predict it, right? She feels free and open and no debt. But she also has no future. There's no financial stability anymore. She's debt-free, but now she's at zero, effectively, because she has nothing in the future. It doesn't sound like she has a job. So what's going to happen? She's going to go back into debt because she's feeling comfortable again. She never actually fixed the core problem of why she was in debt. Obviously, she didn't talk about that, so I'm just assuming that that's the case. Feels like a Band-Aid or a bridge, if you will, to feeling better in the moment. But if we don't create the right systems and put the right systems in place, we're just going to go back to what we were doing to begin with, which is not great. And unfortunately for her, I do think that's what's going to happen.
What, are they going to show up at your door? You should get a credit card and max it out and use it to move abroad. Because credit scores don't exist outside of the United States. And after 5 years, that debt is completely removed. So it doesn't really matter anyways. Did you hear something?
Got it. Yeah, this was definitely just to get the clicks and the attention, right? Because obviously, what are we even talking about here? First of all, just as a caveat, there's a lot of friction in moving to another country for 5 years just to avoid a couple $1,000s of debt or whatever that you have. Terrible idea. I don't know who's doing this. In my opinion, it just comes down to being a responsible adult at the end of the day, right? If you get into debt, you just gotta pay it off. There's ways around it, sure. as we've seen here. Maybe that's a loophole. I have no idea. Who's actually tried this though? Let me know down in the comments if you know anyone.
I want you to take a look at these numbers right here. They seem pretty small, right? Small dollar amounts, but when you add all these up, that's $88, bro. I know, doesn't seem like it. That's the concept of things add up quickly. So what if you used this concept towards your debt? This is how I did it. I paid off $20,000 in student loans by micro paying every other day.
It's a hot trend right now.
$3, $2, $1, $5, $20, $11. Every time that I could would make a tiny little payment. That amount that you're paying is something so digestible and small that it doesn't even feel like you made a payment. It's just like, oh, I got an extra $3. Put it over there. One thing you don't realize, interest accrues daily on most of our debts. I know, I didn't mean to ruin your day, but it's true. You will start to notice every single month you're making a little bit more progress. You're like, what the? I'm actually seeing this balance go down. It's because you get hit with interest daily. If you can offset some of that daily interest with some nice chunky payments, $3, $5, whatever, it starts to kind of offset what you're getting hit with. Right now, if you're like, I don't have any extra money, yes, you do. You just tipped the Starbucks worker $3. I'm not saying the Starbucks worker doesn't deserve a tip, but hey, dude, come on. I do this now with saving money for my house, but you can micro pay your debt, you can micro invest, you can micro save, you can do this all at the same time. As long as you're making small, little good decisions, those good decisions start to add up.
Yeah, micro paying off your debt, investing, saving, that seems to be a hot topic on social media. And there is some truth to this. Interest does accrue daily in most situations, most debts. That's not really how they present it, meaning the credit card companies, right? But at the end of the day, if you're simply able to outpay the interest on whatever time horizon, you're still going to be fine. So micropaying, if you want to do it daily or every other day to kind of beat that daily grind or whatever, that is totally up to you. When I paid off $43,000 of debt in 13 months, we just made larger, massive payments towards our debt every single month. So we were on a monthly basis, and that kind of worked out for us. So I do think it's just about simply the time frame. And if you're like, oh, I don't even have extra money, similar to what the creator said in this video, that's exactly how I help people in my personal finance community. Looking back 90 days to see where all your money has gone, then writing down a list of all the things that matter to you the most, your North Star goals, and then seeing, where did I spend money that is not in my goal list? And then you realign the spending that you do and then you have. And parents inside my community are finding hundreds, if not $1,000 a month doing this process, and that's able to help them put more money towards the debt. And again, on a monthly basis, I think is fine. This is not a distraction. I think micro paying, there's logic behind it and it makes sense. Let's jump into the next video.
What is one bad financial decision that you regret making in life?
Taking out a personal loan.
You took out a personal loan?
I did.
From who?
From my bank.
What bank was that?
Schools First.
Okay, why did you take out a personal loan from them?
I was trying to get my credit, debt down, but I just ended up spending more on my credit, my credit card, so...
Wait, so you used the loan to pay off the credit cards and then you paid them off?
I paid it off.
And then you reused the credit card?
Yep, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And the interest rate is really high on personal loans, so just don't do it.
Damn, that's crazy. What did your parents have to say about that?
I didn't tell them.
You didn't tell them?
No.
They thought you paid your credit cards off,
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah.
And then what do we do for a living?
I'm a teacher.
You're a teacher?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty classic where, I don't know if it's like people are trying to get their credit scores down. They think it's like a hack where they just consolidate everything. They put it in a personal loan and then they're like, oh, I'm good. But then they have this big, massive thing that they have to pay off. And it's almost like harder to pay off the big, fat one loan than having like 6 or 8 smaller loans, because now you just have this huge, massive thing that you have to pay off. And I've seen it a lot where I think people are, let me know down in the comments, what do you guys think? But I think people are doing this to improve their credit score a little bit. And kind of what this girl was mentioning was when she moved everything to the personal loan, the credit cards kind of freed up and you just kind of feel like you're not struggling as much. It almost feels like this weight has been lifted off and there's not as much pressure anymore. And then you start using the credit cards again because you don't feel overwhelmed with the amount of debt that you're in, because it feels safer to have it in this big one thing for some reason. I don't know. What do you guys think about this one? This one's pretty interesting. Let me know down below.
If you have $20,000 of credit card debt or less, here's exactly how you're going to crush it by next summer. All right, so number one, you're going to go to your local credit union. You're going to ask them for a debt consolidation loan. Credit unions are way better than the big banks because they actually care about the community members and they're going to take care of you with a lower interest rate. If you've got decent enough credit, you can go and do that. You can consolidate all your credit cards and actually get onto a loan that's going to have some type of a fixed interest rather than a compounding interest. It's going to save you in the long run with this credit card debt. If that doesn't work, you're going to call your creditors. You're going to ask for financial hardship waiver where they're going to lower your interest or your monthly minimum payment for a set period of time so that it makes it a little bit easier for you to tidy up those things. Number two, you're going to budget and track your expenses. You're going to look at the top 5 categories in your budget and you're going to trim something from every single one of those. So it doesn't have to be massive, but if you've got a little bit of a grocery budget, you can trim it down a hair. If you got a dining out budget, trim it down a hair. Subscriptions, cut 2 to 3 subscriptions. You're going to take all that excess, you're going to throw it onto the loan or the credit card debt to kind of speed this process up. It's like extra income found rather than having to go get a side hustle. Number three, you're going to look around your house. You're going to sell as many things as you possibly can. Things that don't provide you value anymore. If it's something you love, go ahead and keep it. But if it's not, get rid of it. I promise you people will pay you money for all the crazy crap you have in your house.
All right. The intent of this video was amazing. And I think personal preference is the debt consolidation. I am personally not a big fan. You're just basically moving it over. Maybe there's a couple interest rate points that you're getting. You know, it's an improvement. But really, it's just we're just like kicking the can down the road a little bit. So we're just moving, like, we're organizing things and it's just slightly moving over this way. It's not really an improvement. Yes, maybe it can help a little bit. The other thing that stood out to me was he mentioned, just simply cut the top 5 expenses in your budget. So for me, like, the top 2 things in my budget are mortgage and childcare. Those I can't really change. I could move, I guess, for the mortgage. I could find another childcare, but like those are pretty high friction. So I think just saying that isn't great. And maybe he means like the variable expenses or something like that. But I also don't like that idea at all either, because what if your top variable expense category is very important to you, right? We talked about before doing the 3-month look back, the North Star goals. What if your most important thing, your North Star goal, let's say it's a health and fitness goal, and you spend the most money for some reason in health and fitness, not groceries or whatever, but let's just say it's health and fitness, and it's so important to you, but if you cut it and trim it, I don't know, that kind of sucks. We don't want to have to just cut, because we all know that doesn't work. It doesn't work. Everyone's tried it. It works for a little bit. It doesn't work forever. It's not great. So what I like to do is that realignment process of where have I been spending my money, where do I want to be spending my money, and realign it. So it might not be anything in the top 5. Maybe we just leave those alone. And we look in other areas to kind of realign, as he was mentioning in that video. So I think the intent was great. I don't think this is a horrible advice. Seems like he kind of knew what he was talking about, but that's just my take on it. Let's jump to the next one.
$24,000 in debt, and I just booked a $5,000 hotel stay in Greece. Well,
for the hotel?
Because you guys know I'm frugal, and I spent exactly $0 on the entire hotel stay. For the past 3 years, I have been hoarding my credit card points in hopes that I would become debt-free soon, and I could enjoy my vacation fully.
Oops.
And I feel like we're close enough. But I have to know, since I didn't book my flights yet, was this the wrong choice to do?
First of all, shout out to Greece. I love Greece. We went to Greece on our honeymoon. So amazing place. Cool. She's going to enjoy it. But I don't know, $24,000 in debt. This is kind of the thing, like the whole video that I've been, like, people are way too comfortable just to be in debt. And they don't realize the power of not being in debt. It is so freeing to not have to pay anyone else. It gets to a point where, like, you just stop caring about your debt. And I don't know how this happened. This happened to me. Before we drew a line in the sand and went hard at paying off our debt, we just treated the debt as like a payment, and it just became normal. We were just making minimum payments, and we looked at it one day. We woke up, we're like, what are we doing? What do we do? We are paying money to other people. We are paying our hardworking money to other people instead of putting our money towards ourselves, our future, our family. That stuff is powerful. And again, Greece is amazing, but maybe you could just use those credit card points to paying off the debt a little bit. I don't know. And not spend $4,500 on hotel stay. Like when we stayed there, we did not spend anywhere near that. And we still had a pretty great time. So it's very possible. I don't know. I guess I'm just pretty passionate about like getting out of debt, because it's life changing. On to the next one.
Saving $1,000 in an emergency fund and then stopping just so you can go attack your debt isn't just one of the riskiest things you can do. It's one of the stupidest things you can do. The Dave Ramsey window lickers, they love this shit though. Here's the two main problems with it. It doesn't cover a typical emergency for a family, which is $2,500. The other thing is because
Depends
it
on the
doesn't
family.
cover it, it means you're more likely to go to debt to cover the rest of it. That's the number 2 reason why people fail debt payoff plans. All the research proves it, okay? So how does the debt efficiency method solve this problem for you? The way it is that you split your income at the end of the pay period of what's left 60-40. 60% is going towards savings the entire time you're in the debt payoff process. Where by the time you pay off your credit cards, you're probably going to have somewhere between $7,000 and $15,000 in your savings account by the end of that, before you even move on to your fixed loan debts, okay? And you're going to save money a little bit less aggressively paying off the fixed loan debt. So you're saving money from the time you start to the time you end. It's going to drastically decrease your chances of going back to debt and failing the debt payoff plan.
All right, got it. Yeah, nope, I get what he's trying to say here. I think he's framing it as like an opportunity. Really, at the end of the day, it's just kind of a personal preference, I suppose. Yeah, like you don't have to follow Dave Ramsey's plan of having the $1,000 emergency fund. Yes, that number was created probably 2 decades ago and hasn't really changed. So maybe it should be a little higher, right? But at the end of the day, it's really hard to split your money in 2 separate directions and be successful at both of them. So yes, you could pay debt. You could, what was his ratio? 40% of extra money towards debt, 60% towards savings. Okay, yeah, you definitely could do that. You could also do 80-20, 50-50. You could just make up a bunch of percentages. It doesn't really matter. It's a personal preference. So if you're someone or your family, if you look at the last 6 months or something of all of your expenses and you see no big emergencies came up that was over, I don't know, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, then that should be your number for your emergency fund. Just something that's going to cover like anything that has popped up in the past. It doesn't mean that something new isn't going to pop up, of course, but at the end of the day, having that buffer of any amount of an emergency fund while you're paying off debt is critical. Because the worst thing that we can do is be making momentum with our paying off our debt, and then we get hit with this massive thing that we can't pay for with money, with cash, and then we have to go back into debt, and all of that progress just got reset. It's like playing a video game and you didn't make it to the checkpoint and you have to start all the way back at the beginning. That's what that feels like. So the percentages don't really matter. He's trying to frame it as like an opportunity. Oh, I have this really cool thing. It doesn't matter. I think it's just personal preference. What do you feel comfortable with? How much do you feel comfortable having aside so that you can continue your debt payoff journey? Let's jump to the next one. And yeah, if you guys like that one, I got a whole nother batch right here, so click on that one.